Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. So, can you introduce yourself?
I'm Mukwaya Dominic, Karins, and I'm the director of St. Paul KAASO. For the historical background of my life, I was born in a big family. Our father was called Mr. Mukasa Joseph, and he was living at Kavira, just near here, near my home. But unfortunately, my mother died the day I was born. So, in other words, I can say I was a bit unlucky because I lost the mother the day I was born.
Yeah.
So, my father took me, and I grew up with my grandparents. I grew up with my grandfather, who was called Maka Twajirwa, and then the grandmother, who was again a stepmother to my father, and it was called Deborah. We liked this grand so much, even my brothers liked her so much, but unfortunately she died when I was still schooling. On the other side, I was born in 1968, in August 4th, on 4th, it was a Sunday. That's why some people around here call me Sunday, if you hear that name. So I went to school a bit late, because during those days, schooling was not like, there was no nursery around here. So I was taken, and when I was around 7 years old, one of my brothers took me to where he was teaching to stay with his son, who was young by then. So I stayed with the son for some years. So I went to school when I was almost 9 years. I started P1.
Wow.
And I started P1 in a strange area there in Koki. The school was not good. Later on, when my brother was transferred to Kabila, I came with him and I started schooling again. I repeated P1.
Oh,
That means
10.
at 10. Wow. I started Kabila P1. But the biggest challenge I found at Kabila, the pupils of Kabila were a bit far. From the other end, I thought I was wise. I had some knowledge. But when I reached here, the children were able to read in P1. They could read all the letters of the alphabet. Me, I had crammed some stories. There was a small book we were reading called Kisumuruzo. So for them, they were able to read it, really. But for me, I had to tell what I had crammed. Like, even if they point at C, I was calling that one bar. So in the long run, I found in P4, I managed to catch up. And in P5, I was the first. Primary 6, I was the first. Even in primary 7, I did better than all the other pupils in my class. When I was in P7, we were asked who were aspiring to join the priesthood profession, to become a priest.
Yeah.
So I applied to go to the seminary, and in 4 parishes, which make up our deanery. Our deanery is Bikira deanery,
Yes.
but it is made up of 4 parishes: Mpambire Parish, Wagure Parish, Bikira Parish, and Bethlehem Parish. I was the best, and I went to the seminary. I studied there for only 2 years. The problem was I had no financial assistance, because when I went there, my brothers had their children they were catering for, and my grandfather died when I was in primary 6. So I did not get a chance of being sponsored like other children. So I went to the seminary anyhow, if I would say. One of my brothers bought me a suitcase, a metallic suitcase. Another one bought me bed sheets, but I had no mattress. So what I did was to go to the school there in the field. I cut down the grass and I filled a piece of cloth with the grass, and I called that one my mattress, and I went to that school. Another challenge was that I had no shoes, but again I went to somebody who gave me his old shoes, and I went with those ones.
Yeah.
They were plastic. And I studied for 2 years. I was like a seminary dependent. But when I was in senior 2, the bursar, who was a priest, asked me to pay at least some money because the debt was too big. And they told me to come back for fees. When I came back, my brothers had no money. In other words, they decided to solicit banana, this type of banana from which we brew beer. And they contributed that one, so that I brew beer and I sell, and the money which I would have got from that would take me back. Unfortunately, when I got like 6 jerrycans, I sold them, and the man was paying me in installments. I collected some little money. The debt was of 80,000 by then, Uganda shillings. But I raised 2,000 and I went with that. When I reached school, they told me, no, we need more money. And they told me to come back. That's how I left the seminary. I didn't go back. I went back to collect my property because I had no way out to get the money. So, fortunately, at Kabira Secondary, the Kabira Primary, they had started a secondary school. I joined that one. Lucky enough, I was ever the best since I was from the seminary. I used to be the first because the teachers of the primary school were teaching us. On the other hand, it was not good because I lost a lot. It was as if I was not studying. I was ever the first, but the curriculum, the syllabus was not covered for secondary. So it's as if I missed senior 3. And when we reached senior 4, we were 7 in the class, and we realized we were remaining only 3. So we also left and I went and approached a brother who gave me a post in his secondary school, Kitterede Secondary School. I studied as a school dependent, but it was a technical school whereby they were not considering other subjects like geography or whatever, but they were teaching mathematics, English, and geography, but they were not putting more emphasis in like chemistry, biology, and physics. So what I did at senior 4 was not the best, because I passed in the first grade, if I can tell you. But if I had stayed in the seminary, I knew I would get a first grade. From there, artist, I thank the brother. It was called Brother Novatos. From there, I left and I joined college. I studied for 1 year in Lakai Primary Teachers College. Again, I lacked funds and I dropped out. I had to come back. I started digging around in the village with my friend, Ruemba. We are getting the jobs and digging for school fees. All the money we used to get was for school fees, paying school fees. So we got, fortunately we got a kind man, Matthias, who gave us a job to dig his eucalyptus forest, and he was giving us money to pay for the school fees. So we would come and we dig, and when we are going back, he was giving us the money we wanted. Even if we had not dug for that money, but he would give us that money as a loan, and when we came back during holidays, we would dig for the money to compensate for what he gave us. That's how I managed to, but yeah, I did not complete then, and I had to go. I taught as a licensed teacher at Mabari Primary School. Later on, my sister had come back, he had qualified, and she had got a job with YMCA Kampala, and she took me to Kampala. I joined the school, Gaba Primary Teachers College. I studied from there for 2 years, and that's how I completed my grade 3 teacher's certificate. From there, the Brothers of St. Charles Rwanga, a religious congregation, from where I completed my senior 4. They realized that I had some knowledge in mathematics, and they came for me from Kampala. They brought me to teach in their school. It was a boarding school, and they had their P7, first P7 during that year. They brought me. And right away, they put me in P7 to be the class teacher from college. And I was given to teach mathematics and science. That year, we had 15 students, and we got 12 first grades.
Fantastic.
So they promoted me the following year to become the deputy of the school. From there, I worked for them for 6 years, but these brothers helped me a lot.